Well, just recently, the IMF praised India as a bright spot in a dark horizon due to the rapidly growing economy, even in the post-COVID difficult times. Now, an advertisement in the United States newspaper Wall Street Journal has dubbed India a dangerous place for investors. On October 13th, a full-page ad was taken out in the Wall Street Journal calling for sanctions against the Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, the Supreme Court judges, CBI and the Enforcement Directorate officials, among others. The reason? Well, according to the ad, state institutions have been weaponized under the Modi government to settle political scores and has made India a dangerous place for the investors. Now, here is where the story gets interesting. Taking a strong exception to the ad, senior advisor to the INB ministry, Kanchan Gupta, revealed that behind this Malign India campaign is one of the key accused in the Davis scam. Now, Ramchandra Vishwanathan, who was the CEO of Davis, and he is the one who is allegedly linked to this advert. In fact, a QR code at the bottom of the ad leads to a US think tank, Frontiers of Freedom. The names that are mentioned in the ad for proposed sanctions are exactly the same as those that are mentioned in a petition that has been filed in August this year by Ramchandra Vishwanathan himself. And it was submitted to the US State Department by the Frontiers of Freedom. So, of course, India has now taken strong exception to the ad as well. And joining us live is Mr. Kanchan Gupta himself, a senior advisor to the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, to explain more about who is behind the ad. So, first I want to ask you, Mr. Kanchan Gupta, thank you for joining us. What do you make of this ad? This ad has shocked the entire country. Why do you think this ad has been given a full-page ad on the Wall Street Journal?
No, there's nothing to be made of the ad. It's an advertisement which was published in the Wall Street Journal, and it is paid for, obviously. They have used a front, a bogus NGO has been used, and the ad, the real person behind the ad is Ramachandran Vishwanathan, the owner of a firm which is found to have dealt with the Government of India organization in a fraudulent manner.
Okay, you've named Ramachandran Vishwanathan, but is there any proof that he is the one who ensured that this full-page ad was given in the Wall Street Journal?
Well, the advertisement says that it has been published by that NGO in association with Ramachandran Vishwanathan of Devas Multimedia Company. And on August 5, Devas Multimedia Company, that's Ramachandran Vishwanathan, and this bogus NGO, they together have submitted an appeal for action against Government of India officials, including the Finance Minister and Supreme Court judges, for them to be acted against under the Magnitsky Act of 2016. I hope you know what the Magnitsky Act is all about. It allows the US government to take punitive action by way of sanctions against individuals of a government, individual officials of a government, for gross violation of human rights. And to suggest that the Finance Minister of India is guilty of gross violation of human rights, or Supreme Court judges are guilty of gross violation of human rights, or the Solicitor General of India is guilty of gross violation of human rights, it's not something which should be taken lightly. It is an assault on the sovereign government of India. It is slandering the sovereign government of India, and it is imputing horrible motives on the Supreme Court of India, the highest judicial authority of India.
All right, so you're saying that this is an anti-India agenda that is being passed off as just an ad. So, I want to ask you, what is the purpose of this ad? What does it really serve? Can this bid to influence the US government and seek sanctions really work?
Devas Multimedia had entered into a fraudulent agreement with Antariksh, which is the commercial arm or commercial organization of ISRO. This happened in 2005 when the UPA government was in power. There were certain conditions precedent to the agreement that Devas Multimedia will be bringing this by way of hardware, software, bandwidth, spectrum to the agreement. Now, it was found, some of us at that time itself had pointed out that it was a bad agreement, it was bad in law, and it stank of corruption. And subsequently, when the 2G scandal happened, further details of this particular agreement came out. Now, what Devas meanwhile had done is that by showing this agreement, they had raised huge amounts of money from Mauritius, from dubious sources in Mauritius and other places. And in 2011, the UPA government was confronted with the reality that this was a fraudulent agreement, that the company had indulged in fraud, and therefore that agreement has to be cancelled. So the UPA government cancelled the agreement in 2011. Subsequently, Devas went to court against the government of India. They went to some international tribunals. Over here in India, they went to the tribunal. The NCLT ruled against them. They went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court threw out their case. And subsequently, the Supreme Court endorsed or allowed the Enforcement Directorate to declare Ramachandran Vishwanathan as not only as an economic offender, but as a fugitive economic offender. So here is a fugitive from Indian law who's sitting in America and who's running a campaign against the government of India because he has suffered financial loss or whatever on account of his fraudulent practices. And he is now desperate to sort of get out of the jam in which he finds himself.
All right, Mr. Kanchan Gupta, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. We also